Yo boys, back with another video. Yes, it's been a minute since I've uploaded. Obviously, I haven't really been doing any retail. I've just been doing wrath leveling and all that good stuff. So until Dragonflight, I'm not really gonna have that much content. The only time I really log on here is to do, coaching with the good old fast paladin. That's really the only person I've been playing on retail with, because obviously there's nothing to do. Now, ever since Evoker has been a thing, I've realized that they've been able to do a lot of things. So they can heal in CC. They have this one huge heal that I don't know how broken it is, but all I know is once they click it, it's impossible to kill them. So they get that one heal through any. I don't know if it's through any CC. All I know is they can do it through a stun. They can do it through a sap. So I'm pretty sure they can also do it through a blind. And they also do a lot of damage. I'm talking about, per cast of that red, like whatever it's called, it hits me for like 20% of my HP. Same thing with my paladin. So yeah, they definitely do a lot of damage. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I think the class is dumb. I think it shouldn't even be a thing. I think everything about it is stupid. It's like a DH trying to be a healer. It's what it feels like. Here, thankfully, my trinket does unhealable dam, and we end up getting a fat vis rate for the good old fast 12%. And then this guy tries to survive. So as you can see, he uses that one huge heal, which he can use in any CC. I don't know if he can use in blind, because obviously I've only faced a few of them. Actually, I faced a lot of them, but they were all like really bad. So it was that heal that he used. He can use it in any stun, and I don't know. You guys would have to let me know if he can use it on blind. All I know is he can use it on sap, and it actually heals for a lot. And as you can see, he just land hands himself with a good old fast heal. I end up getting a rekindle here. Obviously, the only thing bad about our comp is if they just use a single cooldown on our cooldowns, then they live and they don't take any damage. So like me and my Ret, thankfully we're facing a Fury Warrior and not somebody like that was playing a meta comp, because obviously Fury Warrior is terrible. It's like not even close to Arms Warrior. If you guys have been watching Mud, he's legit just 50k condemning people. But yeah, so Arms is definitely gonna be the deal. I think Mud was still complaining about how something, I don't know if he was saying defensively, but he was hitting 50k condemns, and his top 99% of his damage was condemn, and he was hitting for 50ks. Meanwhile, everyone else that's not playing the meta right now is hitting for like a wet noodle. So that's why I get annoyed. Obviously, this is gonna be a video of a bunch of evokers, because this was like every single game of it was Evoker Warlock or Evoker DH, because nobody's gonna play a non-meta comp unless it's low CR at the start of our game. So these are like the start of our games where MMR was like 1600, and then we got to like the 1900 games where everyone was just playing lock, DH, and everything like that. So the lock ends up trinketing my sap. I resap him. He ends up walling for no reason, so that's nice. We end up not getting trinket from the evoker, which is great. So this guy uses Dark Pack and his wall on I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to think of why he would use that, but this is a World of Warcraft nowadays, so he tries using his so that cast that he just tried to use there was, you basically have to CC him 3 times before you get it off. It's kind of like the trinket, except it's 3 times instead of 2 times. And it's really, really OP. It's like, especially versus anything like in stun, so like 30 seconds worth. You're never, like a warrior's never going to be able to stun him. You can purge it, but if you're not playing with a purge, then you're never going to be able to do anything versus the evoker. So here in this situation, we just need a good old solid setup here. So either he hot or he needs to blind the lock, and then I need to stun him here. So he blinds, I kinny, and I use my trinket. This is like our only chance to kill him. Thankfully, my trinket hits for legit almost all of his HP. And trust me, I do know the trinket's OP. A lot of people are like, well, the trinket's... Yes, it is OP. I agree with you. I would say without this trinket, I wouldn't play the game. Like, the only way I can even do a coaching like with the power here is because of the trinket. Like, if it didn't hit for as hard as it was hitting, it would be legit impossible. There's a reason that when me and BUQAOB do viewer games where we can't even beat 1600 players because we can't do any damage. It's not possible. But we end up getting a W here, thankfully. And we get on to the next game here. Overall, the games were actually not that bad. They were, when you're facing Evoker and DH, now obviously they are broken, but the good thing about it is they're not like super tanky. And my trinket hits a lot on those type of, you know, people. Obviously, I have an entire another set of a video, so I'll probably be posting the second half of our games, most likely, depending on if I get any more content. This is where he uses that one thing, so I sap it 3 times, and I sap 4 times there. I get a stun here. The DH uses as high as like 10 seconds after I get it. As you can see, in a sap, he's doing a full lay on hands heal. That's the button I'm talking about. You cannot kill when he's casting that button. So he gets a he basically just saves that button for any type of CC. I have my guy pre-bot me, so I'm basically telling him in comms what to press. So like he knows. So it's kind of like when I was playing with Trix, I'm basically like playing 2 characters at once, but it is a coaching session, so I'm just showing him the ropes and basically teaching him how to do certain things. If he was not playing a Ret right now, it would probably be impossible to win any games. Because of his utility, I don't have to use my cooldowns, and that's really the only reason that I'm able to survive as long as I'm surviving. Because obviously with a Ret's utility, I'm getting a lot of stuff going on. I end up vanishing here because I end up trying to sap him. Now at this point, we've already gotten double trinket, so we need to wait off DR. Now I wanted to try to sap because obviously a sap blind is better than a blind, especially when he has relentless. So here I'm trying to sap. This guy's just flying around the area. I blind him here. I stun him. He breaks my blind on accident, and as soon as I realize he breaks it, I instantaneously shadowy duel so he doesn't get any healing off, and we end up getting a dub. So it is possible to beat these guys. I think as anything but a rogue right now. But you guys can like rephrase me on this. All I know is a rogue, like a good evoker, will never die to a rogue. They have a bleed thing where they can take off every single poison bleed or anything like that every minute, which means every time a assassination rogue uses their, like, I'm gonna call it vendetta. I think it's like death mark or something. I don't know what it's called. But whenever they use their vendetta, they can just take it off every single time. So we end up facing DK here, DK Priest. And this is a game where the priest was so busy on doing damage that he forgot to heal. And the reason we killed him, and you're gonna see how we kill this guy, it's the most cringe thing I've ever seen. I am so surprised we actually I end up sapping the DK off the sap. My guy breaks it. He actually breaks it, and the DK ends up oh my god. He ends up trinketing air, and then he iceborns air. So he uses everything on nothing. My guy ends up bubbling here because I told him to instantly shield and try to kite out Mass Dispel. I end up gouging the priest so he can't Mass Dispel instantly. He ends up DR hodging, which wasn't that big of a deal. At this point, the priest is kind of, I don't know what he's clicking at this point. He ends up getting one-shotted because obviously we're facing people that have max here. I end up using my trinket because maybe I didn't need to use my trinket. I think the only reason he's traded trinket though is because I used mine. I think if I just tried to pump him, he wouldn't use anything. The problem is if I use my trinket, it's physically almost impossible unless I get huge RNG for me to actually kill him. So the only way I thought I could win is, like, obviously the priest just healed himself. They wouldn't have been. It's impossible for him to die. My guy ends up DR hodging, which he's had a bad problem with that, but obviously we're still learning and all that good stuff. So it's not, to me, it's like not a big deal. It's not like a DR'd anything for me because it was already triple DR'd. I end up opening, this is where I end up killing this guy. Look at this. So he's so busy on trying to kill my paladin right now, and he ends up trying to DPS that I actually am just saving my kick. Now if I miss kick here, we lose. So he's trying to bait out my kick because obviously I guess he doesn't know that rogue is awful. So here I'm just trying to do as much damage. This is where he should have healed. So he should have healed on that CC. Instead he tried to do damage, and that's why he pays for it. I end up vanishing for the Shadow Strike. I end up stunning the DK here. I end up gouging the pet. Now this is really bad, because all this guy DK needs to do is perma-slow me and not ever let me result. I should never, ever be able to get a result. So at this point, if I didn't juke him off here, I was dead. Thankfully, you know, if you're spamming right before they jump off, you'll usually always get it. I end up getting a huge result here, which is why we ended up getting a result. Now, thankfully, I have really good movement, because obviously if I didn't, it would have been legit impossible to get a re. So here I'm just LOSing. I'm waiting for the pet to start coming after me before I get a re. Now, if he did save his AoE, he probably would have AoE'd the left side, but obviously he trinkets us. He trinkets air and he iceborns air, so I don't really think, you know, the pet's actually following me in stealth. If he had his pet like leap at me, like if he was spamming leap, he actually would have got me there, like as soon as it came out, because obviously I have to resell. Now, I know a lot of you guys are wondering why I can have the shield on. If you look in your talent tree, I'll have it linked down below. Now, I will link you the build with the on your conduits, you have the shield, but on your actual talent tree, if you rock the shield with Vanish, you don't get the shield. It's kind of weird. So if you don't rock the shield on the talent tree and you have it in your conduits, it's actually going to take off the talent one and it'll give you the conduit one. So that's why I'm able to get a shield, and I'd take that any day of the week, and that's why I'm able not to just come out of stealth every millisecond. I'm able to hold it. He ends up actually pre-using his shield on me, which is actually a super good strat for him. He actually got a huge pre, which could have made him win the game, but obviously I still had cooldowns. This game, I'm posting this game just because this had to be the most garbage tank I've faced in a long time. The fact that I was almost able to die because of this, you guys will just have to watch this. So they're playing tank DH, not a fun comp, especially when you realize how much DPS this tank is doing, around probably 15 to 10k a second. And you will see here in a second if you look at his damage. Just wait until it racks up. So he's already doing 10k, 15k, 13k, and we got instantly the DH's trinket. My guy already has the bubble before the DH even uses anything. I almost getting one-shotted by the DH. I basically get 100 out in about, not even 2 seconds. My guy instantly dies after bubble because they just have to swap him for a second. So the tanks already have done almost triple all of our damage. The DH almost one-shotted me. So it's not really, we're not looking good. Now the good thing is we've gotten the DH's trinket because he trinketed air. So at this point, all we need to do is get a solid setup. Obviously, my damage is based around my trinket. So here I open and I blind the druid. The reason I blind the druid is because I want to get his trinket. So now the druid's not going to re-stealth because obviously he's not going to be, he's clueless on what's going on. So I end up smoke bombing just so they can't open because I have no cooldowns at this point. So my goal is to sap the druid and then kidney the DH. The DH needs to be alone, and the reason is if I trinket and they're both stacking, my trinket is my only win rate. So I sap the druid. So if they were stacking in this situation, he would not have died because my trinket. Thankfully, I actually get some huge eviscerates there because this guy was like hugely under-geared. He probably had like 80k because of the buff. Like with the buff, he had 105k, and that's a huge buff. So he probably only had like 80k HP. So this druid has 160. Obviously, I'm gonna skip it here because. So I re-up. I get some cooldowns, and this has been a long dampening game. Like if you look, we're already at almost 30 damp right now. So the game's been going on for a minute. I end up opening the tank here. Now, like I said, my only win rate is to basically use CDs on his whatever it's called. It's where he does unhealable damage and he can't be stunned. I don't even remember what it's called. I haven't been playing retail in so long that I just forgot. So whatever that blue button is, you guys can just comment in the comments. I think I just moused over it. But yeah, every time he uses that cooldown, you basically need to trade Vanish, and you have to have a Vanish on it. You do not want to open on a tank with that cooldown up, because if you do, he will 100 you instantly through evasion, through a cloak, through everything cool. It doesn't matter. He ends up trinketing late on my, so he ends up skinning a sap because he wants to AoE me out, and then he ends up trinketing my sap late. Oh my. So he ends up trinketing a sap, and I end up DR corroding him because I'm trying to just bide time so I can kidney. I end up trying to get a little bit of damage, even though tanks take double the damage, or actually they take 50% more damage, which is, trust me, it's a lot of damage. Thankfully, my Venthyr actually ends up coming in handy. So at this point, he ends up just using every single defensive cooldown. He ends up getting back up to 80%. At that point, I have no Shadow Dances. And for some reason, I don't know if you guys noticed, but your Shadow Dance doesn't come up anywhere near how it used to be. Like, you used to be able to get Shadow Dance every, like, couple of, like 10 seconds, 15. Now I actually end up almost dying here, as you can see. So this guy's just clicking the normal amount of buttons that he usually would, and he's doing like I'm talking about more than my burst damage. So he ends up almost killing me. He almost kills me here. I am dying to nothing right now. I end up blinding here. Thankfully, I already got his trinket with sap, because if he held trinket until this moment, he probably would have killed me. Because obviously I had vanished in 5 seconds, and I wouldn't have been able to get a re. So my only win rate is basically get him out of form with no trinket. If I do not get him out of form, he's going to live. Because obviously he has survival coming back up, and it's going to heal him. Even though dampening's at huge, it's already at 40%. I end up sapping him here. So the goal is to basically wait for the eyeballs, have him get the eyeballs, and then open at him in the form. Now, he has come out of form before. Like, I baited him out to where I've come out of stealth and he started running after me because he knew that he wanted to get me so bad. But my goal was, if he doesn't get the eyes and he just resets and waits for his, blue, non-stunnable. So I end up knowing that I have to get his trinket, because if I don't get his trinket at this point, we're gonna lose. It's like, if he has trinket for my cosmic trinket, we're just gonna lose. It's not gonna be a fun game. So at this point, we're kind of just chilling, and there's really not much happening here. Now the main goal is he has trinket, so we need to bait out his trinket. I end up pre-vanishing. He almost ends up getting me out here, which kind of sucked. My actually PC froze there for a second, so I might be a little bit behind on the voiceover, but whatever. You guys know what's going on. He ends up using his one button that he can kill me with that can actually 100-0 me almost instantly. I'm talking about this type of damage is... I just wish they would take tanks out of the PvP. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that it should be taken. Like, and so they're basing off nerfs and buffs off a solo rated queue, which is dumb. Like I said, I had no belief in Dragonflight. I said it every time. Nobody believed me that they would mess up and they would do the same thing they've been doing for years. They say they're going to do something. They say they're finally going to listen to the community, and they do the exact opposite of what everyone wants. But I'm just ready to get out of pre-patch. I think pre-patches is so boring. I think everyone agrees with me. So I end up opening the druid. Now I need to blind him, and I need to bait out blind. The goal in this situation is to get his trinket. If I can get his trinket and get him out of form, what will happen is he will actually end up dying. He ends up getting me out. I think I blind him here. We'll see. I get my combo points to max here. Now I could kinny him, but I end up evasioning because I think my goal here is to kinny, and then I run away. We'll see what happens though. I'm trying to get him low enough to where I can kinny him and bait out. So I end up blinding. This is where he trinkets. This is my last finish here. At this point in time, I need him to get the eyeballs, and I need him to come out of form. So I'm kind of just waiting it out here. Now, if he does not get the eyeballs, what you need to do is you need to force eyeball, and you need to open on him out of form. Because at this point, the druid knows his next, Inavaro is his next, burst where he can't be stunned. He can actually kill me. We're at such a high dampening to where I can't actually physically out heal it. Now, if he gets the eyeball right now, I have no trinket, or I have trinket, but I have no vanish, no evasion. I'm pretty much dead. At this point, if the druid doesn't get the eyeball in 10 seconds, just know he's not getting the eyeball. So at this point, what we do is I'm gonna get the eyeball, and I need to stun him before he can get in bear form. So I end up instantly getting him. I use my trinket, and we end up taking him out here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Peace, boys.